Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Charles Vandervaart about Lost in Space on Netflix. Welcome to the show, man. It's good to see you.
Hello, it's good to be here. Well, I mean, here is in my room, but
Yeah. No, I'm excited to chat. I'm excited to chat with you. We have a lot of projects we have to talk about, specifically Lost in Space on Netflix. The season recently dropped of it. So exciting. Storytelling, acting. I mean, when did that kind of start for you? Is that one of those things where you kind of knew that was kind of what you wanted to do, or did it kind of just fall in your lap in another random way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that storytelling is a very human thing.
Yep.
We humans have been telling stories since humans have been humans. But I think personally, I've always been a pretty eccentric guy, especially growing up. Like I was always in the school musicals in elementary school, did a lot of theater growing up.
Yep.
But I knew it was a tough industry to be a part of, right? To like pave your own way. And I think maybe I always treated it as like an extracurricular, just like hockey or anything like that because of that reason. Mm-hmm. And then at about 13 or 14, I started booking a couple bigger roles. And the more I worked, the more I realized that, for me, the risk was definitely worth taking. And I love my job, and I'm very thankful that there's a place for me in the industry.
I feel like it's one of those things too, where like a lot of people start off in theater, and I'm wondering if you've come across like the other way around. Like I feel like the theater is kind of where you start, you learn your craft, and you do like theater, then you go like on TV and film. Are you realizing, or do you have any colleagues that it's the other way around? Like people that are like solely doing a lot of the TV and the film, and they're like, hey, I want to go do theater now, or is it kind of still the other way around?
Yeah, I mean, I know a few people that actually have goals to like land in theater.
Wow.
Okay. I know a girl named Ruby that I was working with on a show called Holly Hobby, another show that I'm on. And yeah, her whole thing is that she wants to be on Broadway. And I mean, that's super respectable, and I love that stuff. I don't know if I would ever go back to theater. I love it. I think I might go back to theater one day. Who knows? I don't know.
You never want to close the door. Like obviously, you have kind of old goals and ambitions with your TV and film career, but you never want to close the door, right?
Yeah, I remember when I was just kind of transitioning from theater over to on-screen acting, and every audition I did, I was like super loud and broad and things like that. And every casting director was like, "You got to tone it down, man," because that's the normal in theater. You know what I mean? You have to project to the audience, but everything's so small on screen.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's pretty crazy, and this whole landscape now of like technology and like, for example, like this is not a green screen, right? This is like an actual backdrop, because if I had a green screen, I would be like, I move around too much, Charles, for a green screen. I'd be like one with the background. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have some like fancy Lost in Space background like a lot of people do. They put like, the green screen, like the background and everything. I can't do that, unfortunately, because I would be lost in space.
Right. It would be very fitting for the interview.
It would 100%. Where's PD Beats? He's lost in space. He's not coming back. We talked a little bit about that, kind of how you got into it. Follow-up question before we get into Lost in Space. I mean, what excites you about storytelling, Charles?
I mean, who doesn't want to be like a rock climbing, cool, long-haired astronaut? I mean, it's just the range of things and opportunities you get.
That was a grand answer, my friend. That was really good.
But sometimes you get to do that, and I was very lucky to do that on Lost in Space. And sometimes you're telling jokes in a sitcom, sometimes you're being very serious, doing more dramatic stuff. I think you get a real appreciation for the vastness of humanity and the potential of it, right? So,
but I find it so interesting that you say that, because I feel like unless it's a really like drama or about like something really intense, like you can kind of find like humoristic kind of elements in a lot of different genres these days, I find.
Yeah. Those are always my favorite actors to watch. The ones that are, even if they're in a serious thing, they're just kind of funny too. Like the Jason Batemans and the Ryan Goslings. Like,
like Jason Bateman and Ozark, Netflix plug, is like the perfect example of that.
Super entertaining, right? Like
so good.
A little bit of comedy in there.
Lost in Space on Netflix. When you kind of sign on to a project like this, you know about kind of the track record that it was like a very classic show that had fans all around the world. There's all these characters that existed. What's your mindset when you kind of sign on to a project with all that in mind, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, I think this was the first show I ever worked on where I've already seen the show before I even knew I was going to be a part of it.
Oh, wow.
I watched it, when it was coming out. Preparing for it, I rewatched the first 2 seasons. I rewatched them both in a night, so it's a testament to how much I like the show. Although I haven't seen the original yet, and I have to do that. I should do my homework. Just because of this, maybe I should watch it tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen the original, but I mean, yeah, the first 2 seasons of this were so great. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking going into it. But it's funny though, because this show, I got there, and I mean, I personally am like a rock climber in real life. So
wow.
Going to BC, and BC is like the mecca of hiking and rock climbing in Canada, basically. And I was like, this is going to be so exciting. All my days off, I'm going to be able to go rock climbing and things like that. And I get the very first script, and in the very first like couple of scenes that I'm in, I'm rock climbing on the show. So it was like the most dream come true thing. It's like they hired the real guy. Actually, the first day that I started working, I was wearing, I came to set wearing these black cargo pants, the sporty orange t-shirt, and hiking boots. And I looked at my wardrobe, and it was black cargo pants, a sporty orange t-shirt, and hiking boots. They like hired the real dude. I mean, I think my character is a lot cooler than me. I'm rock climbing on Earth, and he's rock climbing, on alien planet. So I'll get there.
But he's getting lost in space, so you're not, right? So.
Yeah, no, I guess he's winning there. Yeah.
I think that if we do future interviews too, I think that joke is never gonna like leave. On the background.
You got to find out a way to make the background. You know what? Next time you're interviewing me, I'm gonna bring the background. I'm gonna have a green screen.
I'm telling you, man, I see it, and I would love to have a backdrop like a green screen, but I can't.
Wear a green shirt, so it's just like your head floating around space.
Man, I used that. Man, there was one time where like before I had this if you look, because I've been doing this show for a while, but like I remember I just had like a black backdrop, and like the one time like I wore like a pretty dark shirt. It was like the worst idea ever, because it's exactly what you're saying.
Just a floating head.
Oh man, it's so crazy. I did also want to mention, because I'm a big horror movie fan. You were in the Craft Legacy, which is Craft Legacy, right? That what it was called? Craft.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay. Sorry, I knew it was the Craft. I just wasn't sure. That was 2019, right, when it came out.
Yeah, and it's like it's a reboot of the original.
Yeah. No, I knew it was the Craft, but I'm pretty sure there was Legacy at the end, and I just wanted to make sure. But yes, there is. The horror genre, though, this is more of like a horror movie question rather than a craft question, to be honest with you, Charles. But like, is it cool and exciting to kind of be part of a horror movie like that one, knowing how big the landscape is becoming, though, and how popular it's becoming?
Yeah, I mean, I do terrible with horror movies.
Yeah.
Like, I get freaked out. Like, I remember I watched what was it called? I think it was like The Conjuring or something with my friends, and I just like I couldn't sleep for a week.
That seems to be the one, man, that gets everyone. Like The Conjuring, it's not the first time I've heard of that.
I like had a night terror the night that I watched it. It was the freakiest thing. I mean, I like them because you get that like thrill, but it's still, I'm so terrible with being scared with the horror movies. But it was cool though, because then being a part of this one, I could actually watch it and be like, it's not real. Don't worry. But yeah, that was a great film to be a part of though.
But it's so interesting too, because I remember like for me, like The Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar scared the crap out of me, and it was like the remake of like the North American version of the really scary Japanese horror film. And I remember like seeing the trailers, and I would always be like, it's okay, it's not real, it's just Buffy. That would be like my coping mechanism.
Right.
And I interviewed the director of those films for a new film he did, and I was like, first off, thank you for the nightmares. I appreciate it. And he like laughed. He's like, that's what I'm here for.
Do you recommend that movie to me? Is it going to be too scary for me?
The Grudge? No way. If you're saying The Conjuring, not a chance. I'm sorry, not a chance.
I'll avoid it. Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you what's interesting though about the genre of horror, and maybe this is like a kind of like a talking point that maybe you can like comment on, because it's not really a question, but they're finding new ways to scare the audience. Like they don't need like the blood and like the jump scares. Like a conversation between two people could be like, what the hell is he talking about? Why is he saying that?
Intensity.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean by that? It's interesting,
Yeah,
right?
You're sitting like this, like, oh, it's freaky.
Yeah,
I also heard that apparently. Sorry, you go.
No, go ahead. Apparently, what were you gonna say?
No, I was hearing that apparently they play like a frequency that's like too low for the human ears to hear, but like it's supposed to scare you and kind of give you anxiety. Like,
but also
they're
the whole
every angle,
the jump scare too, where like I'm seeing more now, because you know, like someone's walking in a house and there's someone's gonna pop out, right? Like, right. And you're waiting for it to happen. It never happens. Now they're happening right away to scare you even more. Like they're happening like way more earlier than you think.
Yeah, because you're usually expecting, okay, they're gonna build, just boom right in your face.
No, it's so crazy. And you know, before we wrap up, when people get to watch Lost in Space, like audience wise, what are you hoping they get out of it specifically? Because like you said at the beginning of the interview, it's such a fun show. There's so much kind of happening. The arc and the growths on this show are some of the best I've seen in television, to be honest with you. How some of the characters have grown. Like, what are you hoping they get out of it when they get to watch it?
I mean, I like to think that it's very relevant right now. And I mean, on a more serious note, you know, I think there's a lot of people that are experiencing feelings of hopelessness and stuff, especially during the pandemic and all that.
Absolutely.
And you know, there's a very similar situation that's going on in the show at the beginning of season 3, right? Like the parents and the kids are split up and they're isolated from each other. They don't know what's going to happen. There's like imminent danger. But I think it's a show that, you know, really shows people that, you know, no matter what the situation is, there's always hope, and there's a way to get out of it, and there's reasons to laugh and be happy. And I think that's an important thing right now. You know, I think people are really feeling the weight of the world right now, and you know, it's good to have a reminder that there's definitely still hope and, you know, good things happening.
Oh, 100%. Before we wrap up, there's a guitar in your background.
Oh. Yeah.
Are you big, like, what kind of music do you listen to? I'm just curious. All over the place?
Oh, man.
Or?
I'm all over the place. I think my favorite artists are MGMT, if you know who they are.
Of course.
Half Moon Run, another Canadian band. Actually, yeah, I think they're close to you.
Yeah, so a lot of indie rock.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff. I used to be the guy that said, I listen to a lot of rap too. I used to be the guy that said that I liked everything except country music.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to get back into it. I used to hate it when I was a kid, and I grew up in the country, and now I'm listening to this guy named Coulter Wall, and you know, I feel like that's a can of worms, because I'm just going to start like consuming country music from now on. But you know, I'm happy about it.
Man, like, are you? Because like Spotify is just insane to me. Like I'm discovering like 25. Like, but I mean, I'm a big music guy, right? So like, I'm on it all the time. I'm probably on it more than a lot of other people. But like, I discover like 25 new bands like a day.
Oh my gosh!
Like, no, there's so much music out there, man.
And
it's crazy.
Possible. Yeah, it's amazing though. I love the fact that people are listening to more stuff. You know.
Yeah.
I always think the answer is very similar when you ask people what they like, because there's such a like breadth to how much music people listen to nowadays, and it's awesome.
Absolutely. No, it's so crazy. There's so much music. Charles, thank you for coming on Popternative. It was so great to chat with you, man.
Yeah, it was great chatting with you as well.
So Lost in Space, season 3 on Netflix. They can watch it right now. And where can people follow you on social media to keep update with everything?
I mean, it's usually just my name. I think my Instagram's Charles Vandervaart. So if you want to check me out there.
Amazing.
Go ahead.
Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Charles Vandervaart from Lost in Space on Netflix, and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.